Erased Destiny. Chapter 14. Hiding. Every morning Merigold looked out the window, waiting for the first snow, but this time winter was in no hurry to arrive. Everywhere around Cyntra, the mud had turned to hard, ice-covered frost, but in the city itself people were sinking in slush up to their knees. Therefore, although Ume had asked Merigold several times by letter to come, the latter did not leave the house. Instead of chasing after Jared, whom she had already caught once and brought to justice, Merigold tried to provide as much excitement as possible for Etienne, who was bored with the small village. She climbed the tallest trees, hunted predators, tracked skittish birds, swam in the icy water. She did everything Etienne wished, as long as Etienne didn't leave her. As long as Merigold didn't have to go back to being just Merigold. Etienne took control of the body she inhabited more and more often, and for longer periods of time. She was more and more daring to challenge bandits and duel with Torden on swords. What she lacked in power and magic, she made up for with cleverness and experience, the vast knowledge of someone who had been through more than one thing in life, fought more than one battle. In these wanderings and challenges, she lacked only one thing, Nathan. At night, Merigold returned home, proud to have penetrated the most dangerous cavern in the area, the den of a brindlebear. In addition to the trophies taken off the animals themselves, Merigold carried a nice dagger and several pouches found in the cave, remnants of the predator's prey. Merigold opened a window from the outside and slipped into the room. She left her brown-white fur coat on the grass to further avoid soiling the room, the cleanliness of which left much to be desired anyway. She walked over to the dressing table, reached for soap and a clean tunic, glanced at the table but found no dinner on it. She snorted. Since she hadn't shown up for the get-to-know-you evening, her parents had begun to pretend that no one but them and Rose was home. Merigold found it hard to get used to her own invisibility. For Etienne, it was not a new sensation. She was treated identically by the residents of the palace during Kyle's reign. In spirit, she was glad for the absence of time-consuming duties, like keeping an eye on the flock, cleaning, cooking, or washing, because it allowed her to experience everything that used to be beyond the reach of the undead, powerful, all the time busy ruler. To make Merigold feel better, and to see her family members as little as possible, Etienne tried to dine out, but occasionally snuck something from the pantry or pot. Her situation was so reminiscent of her first years at the palace that she recovered much of the history blurred by later events. How she had been chased by guards for taking herbs from the greenhouse, how she had tried to wash her linen stained with stolen wine so that no one would notice. An unusual bulge on the bed stopped the girl halfway between the window and the door. Someone was sleeping in her room.
You are here at last. I was waiting for you, but I fell asleep. The scouts can't find Jared's hiding place. They insist on meeting you.
Great, but before we go to Cyntra, I need to take a bath. And wash my clothes, and find my mage's robe, and take all the herbs I have bought, and write a message to my parents.
I have talked to them already, and confirmed that you stay at my place. And that you start a new job. I have taken your herbs already. Would you teach me how to prepare mixtures out of them? The invisibility potion is a must-have.
That is why I have bought herbs and not potions. To teach you how to prepare them, and to get paid for your lessons. Of course, we can start with the invisibility potion. I think it will be of utmost use for you.
Merigold took out a black robe and pants from the closet. In front of the seekers, she preferred to appear as a death mage, not a local hunter or an amateur duelist. Roaming around the room, she paid no attention to casting the spell of magical travel. She appeared at the alien-looking bathroom.
You may bath here. It is much warmer and more spacious than in your house. Leave your dirty clothes on the floor. Soon someone will bring a towel for you.
You could wait with teleportation till I took my fur. It is a bit too cold to go outside in the robe only. Can I get a bucket with warm water?
Bucket? Why do you need a bucket?
After looking at each other for a while, the girls laughed heartily. Ami pointed out an empty stone bathtub and a changing room shielded by a cloth curtain.
The servants will fill the tub with the hot water. Hang your clean clothes behind the curtain so you don't accidentally get them wet. Leave the dirty ones on the floor. Tomorrow you will get them washed and dried. Soaps are in wooden boxes, slippers in a cabinet against the wall.
Went out into the hallway to wake the servant up and inform him of the night's bath. Merigold stood confused in a large room lined with stone tiles. Many questions ran through her head. How is it possible that a mayor who owns such a bathroom has no money to pay off his brother? How much did Jared lose at cards? Why does anyone need so much water? Hidden behind a curtain, the girl watched the filling of the tub. It resembled watering sheep, only the water seemed to be hot. When the house became very quiet again, Merigold carefully left the hiding place. She tried not to stain the cream-colored tiles with her feet, but she still carried a lot of sticks, soil, leaves, and light dust into the bathroom. She slipped her hand into the water and immediately withdrew it with distaste. Hot, very hot. Before she could think of a reason why someone would waste time heating so much water to such high temperature, entered the bathroom, wrapped in a bathrobe, with a turban on her head.
Is water too cold? Or is anything else out of order?
No, the opposite. I'm waiting for the water to cool down.
Ame turned her back to the tub, and her naked friend sat down on a wooden chariot, took off her turban, and began to comb her short hair. Merigold stepped uncertainly into the tub. She stood in the water for a moment and squatted down.
This is not for me. I prefer to wash in the river. Or with bucket of warm water. Why is it so hot here? I am not used to such high temperature of water.
And in the winter you take a bath in the ice gap? Your hair will get wet. Do you need a ribbon?
Ami felt like giving a speech about the harm of soaking hair in hot water, the harm of walking around at night with a wet head, and the harm of bathing in the river. But the sight of Merigold covering her knees with her hands and waiting for Rum to let her get out of the tub amused Yume so much that she forgot what she wanted to say.
Shall I hand you the soap or will you reach it yourself?
Etienne gathered her hair and tossed it outside the bathtub. She rested her head on the bath pillow, stretched her legs out in front of her, and muttered,
All that's missing is a cool drink. It's been a long time since I've had a real bath. Do you have any oil besides the rose one? No, well, that's not a problem. I used to like bitter orange. It dried out the skin, but still was my favorite. I had one cabinet fully filled with bottles of that oil, so I would never run out of it.
Goldie, is everything all right?
I could use a nail file. I'm whining, aren't I? You know what I miss the most? Besides my lost power, of course. Massages. Daily massages performed by my beloved. I've almost forgotten how it feels.
Etienne murmured, stroking her shoulder. Memories of Nathan took over her thoughts. After soaking in hot water with 2 different soaps, Etienne wrapped herself in a towel and sat down on a neighboring chariot. She took a critical look at her hair. She didn't mind the golden color, although she would have preferred black.
Fortunately, they do not tangle. I knew one red-haired girl whose hair was sticking up vertically. Can you imagine?
Gosh, somehow mine are getting in place. I cut it off after my sister died, and it stayed that way. I prefer short ones. I don't have to waste time combing.
Where did you accommodate the seekers?
In our old house, right by the city walls. I'll take you there in the morning.
Etienne thought that in the morning the seekers would be either sleeping, either working to find Jared, especially since Yume's morning did not coincide with most people's mornings.
We have prepared a room for you on the first floor, next to the playroom. Will you find it alone?
Of course. Thank you, Ume.
See you in the morning.
Instead of good night, the girl always said, "See you later." At first, this surprised Merigold. Then she got used to the enthusiastic exclamations and exaggerated flattery also. She put on a black robe and pants, braided her hair and hid in the shadows. She walked out into the corridor, from the corridor through the window to a tree growing nearby, and jumped over to the other side of the fence surrounding the mayor's property.